You're still watching TVC Breakfast. It's now time for us to bring you updates that have made it all the way to social media. And the lady that does trending now, that brings us all the current information, is standing by with some juicy gist. Good morning once again, beautiful. What do we have today? What are we talking about?
Good morning, gorgeous. We've got a lot to talk about indeed. We meant it when we said we've got a big spread on TVC Breakfast. Shall we jump right in?
Take it away.
Let's have a look. Good morning, Nigeria. I like to say that TVC has a finger on the pulse and our eyes on the streets. And here on the Trending Now segment, my team and I do our best. And it's our absolute pleasure to bring you all the trending, or at least some of the trending stories that are shaping the world that you and I live in. We begin today on the wings of the Eagle, where the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Nigeria's anti-graft agency responsible for investigating and prosecuting financial crimes, the EFCC, is trending online after adopting a very unconventional and unorthodox social media approach to push its anti-corruption message. Now, the commission used the trending sound to create digital content, warning civil servants against embezzling public funds. And it's a move that many have described as innovative and reflective of modern communication strategies. The video has since gained a lot of traction online, especially amongst younger audiences. Have a look at the video for yourself that got people talking. However, mixed reactions remain mixed. While some Nigerians have praised the agency for speaking the language of the youth and expanding its message reach, others have criticized their approach, questioning whether such methods dilute the seriousness and the professionalism that is expected of a national anti-graft corruption body. Let's have a look at social media. I'll take one tweet. M says, very interesting. You guys have been posting about this local government chairman joke over 3 years with no single arrest. Are you telling me over 750 local government chairmen are saints? Interesting. Team, now a lot of people were criticizing the EFCC, but comments to this were also largely positive. If you ask me, I believe that the EFCC is, if the anti-corruption message is not reaching young Nigerians, they're trying to speak a language that the youth understands in proliferating their message. On the other hand, the question is not whether this video is trending, but whether it has impact and reach, and whether it sends the message, of EFCC to young Nigerians.
Reach and the right message being sent to the right audience. That's why we do things like that. And I would like to commend EFCC for taking this approach because when you do the traditional thing and you're not getting the results you want to get, you try something unconventional, and that's what they've done. You got any message that gets to the mouth of children, is a successful message. Imagine your little son or daughter singing that stuff, and you had it in mind to go do one crazy deal in the office. That could change your mind.
The Gen Zs would really react to this a whole lot. But I always say change is constant, and we need to follow the wave. If you just stick on something, and the wave will go and you will not be part of it. So I think that EFCC is also trying to tap into that. For those people saying that they are not being professional, do crime and see, you will see professionalism. So I think that is beautiful. It's a good initiative. People are talking about it. I mean, we are talking about it this morning. This video, I think they should give the content creator a very big raise, because this video has actually reached a whole lot of people. People were actually forwarding it to me yesterday. I think this approach is fantastic. They're going grassroots. So for those people that cannot even speak English, that want to do crime, you will understand this video. I think it's a good one.
Absolutely. Strategic communication is very key. Any kind of, any means that you can use to communicate, your brand, your business, your services, your art, anything, you have to use it. So long it's professional, or it's something that you would not see, people will not term as being criminal at the end of the day. So one thing is whether it is by paralanguage, whether it is verbal or non-verbal communication, deploy everything, word of mouth, so that the message will reach those who would want to get into crime. And it does not mean that some people will still not get into crime. They know what is wrong, but they want to do it. So you won't have any excuse whatsoever that you didn't get a message, you didn't get a memo. Now the memo has been served.
Absolutely. Whether Instagram, TikTok, X, any app, the Eagle sees all, the Eagle is watching. Thank you so much for your input, team. Moving on into Lagos, transport touts, popularly known as agberos, are back in the spotlight again this week following a viral video allegedly showing a bus that was set on fire after the bus driver reportedly refused to pay levies to the, in quote, agberos. Now, agberos have long played a visible role in Lagos transport hubs, and they're often linked to levy collection and informal control of motor park and street activities. While some see them as part of the informal structure that keeps daily transport running, others have raised concerns over reports of harassment, intimidation, and unauthorized enforcement. The video you're about to watch is what happens when informal structures go without oversight.
Now come collect money. You won't collect 5K.
Well, details surrounding this incident, important to note, they still remain unclear, including what led exactly to the alleged attack and who conducted this attack. However, the video is, of course, renewing concerns about the growing influence of informal street economies and the potential dangers when such systems operate outside formal regulation and oversight. I really hope that the relevant authorities see this, step in, investigate. Let's have a look at social media. I'll take 3 tweets. Daniel Rega says, this is what happens when agberos feel above the law. Unfortunately, they have been pushed and placed on a pedestal that if this was to get to the authorities, I wouldn't be surprised if the case is swept under the carpet. The difference between many agberos and bandits at this point is just that bandits are heavily armed. God help us. Ngozi Egbe says, what's the difference between agberos and bandits anymore? They're starting to act just like them. It's the same greedy, ruthless mindset, just a different way of targeting their victims. Imagine thugs trying to burn a whole bus with passengers inside, all because of some small change. That's not street hustle, but straight up terror. And finally, Jegbe says, it is high time the government took decisive action against the activities of agberos in Lagos, as they significantly contribute to the city's decline. It is concerning that addressing this issue remains so difficult. Team, very important discourse to be had here. Every corner of Lagos, you see that there are people who believe that they own that street, they own that city, and they are genuinely and structurally entitled to levies and even tax collection. They are an informal economy, but this is what happens when they go unregulated and without oversight. Citizens, businesses remain unsafe. Is there ever a chance that they could actually unionize and become a formal economy that is regulated, or should we really just nip them at the bud? Etoma.
A formal economy that is regulated, that sounds nice, but it also sounds far-fetched for Lagos and a whole lot of cities in Nigeria. These street urchins called agbero, they don't have control over themselves, and they are doing this thing. They are emboldened by their paymasters that sends them out to go collect levies or whatever. How much would have been the amount in contention that will make you burn somebody's source of living, somebody's hard-earned money that he used in buying that stuff, just wasted for how much?
This is a very sad one. I'm always against people taking power into their hands, and this is just what we're seeing there. Let the authorities, if they don't pay the levies, let the police, deal with it. You cannot take power into your hands and now try to bend down a car with people inside. I feel like over time we've seen these agbero do, unimaginable things. I just think that, they need to be regulated. Like you said, some of them are on the street because they don't have jobs. Some did not go to school. You see some of them under the bridge. Why I'm speaking two sides about this, because I remember one time my tire was flat and they were really nice to me. Some of them are actually not bad people, but the bad eggs are now actually spoiling the ones, that are good. It's so sad to see that they were trying to do such a bad thing, to people that were in the car. The driver was going to lose, his car as well. So I think we need to regulate these agbero people, and they work for bigger people. So these are just the boys. There's an oga that they are working for.
I think one of the things that Lagos State hasn't got right is the agbero phenomenon. It is something that we really need to work on, because you can't be saying Greater Lagos, better society, safe and serene, with people with their heads right, standing completely on their neck, and then we're having these people causing, destroying other people's property, causing mayhem on the roads. We see how they treat their fellow drivers. We see how they also force people to do things that are not even right. And we see them in cahoots with the original law enforcement agents, where you can't even find, okay, who is who. So much so that when some of these agberos are enlisted into the formal sector, when it comes to security and all of that, they still behave like the agbero they are. So much so that when you say one's a soldier, always a soldier, one's an agbero, always an agbero. So I think this has to be properly investigated, and we must do something right. We should copy it right when we are copying things. Let's see how it's done in London. Ticketing is very, very effective. You can't be running after cars and causing more chaos on the roads. What if another car catches fire, from that
Indeed, Ibrahim, you're very right. And I must note, I want to commend the Honorable Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Mr. Tokunbo Wahab, who has been taking a stand against them and trying to arrest them and regroup them and rehouse them in some cases. But I also must point out that we are also part of the problem. Lots of times we engage their help, whether it's in parking, whether it's in the market. We make their informal economy somewhat formal by our patronage. But thank you so much for your input, team. Still in the world of social media, a video making the rounds online shows a woman causing a scene at a restaurant in Abuja after a transaction fee of 1,687 naira 50 kobo was added to her bill following her order. Now, in the viral clip, the customer is heard disputing the extra charge, and she's demanding that they remove this money. She insisted that she wasn't informed before completing her purchase and she's not going to pay the fee. The woman was then seen calling the police, saying that she would not pay that additional amount of 1,600 naira. Well, staff at this restaurant proceeded to explain that the fee is part of their policy and that it covers value-added tax. But the customer in the video rejects the explanation and maintains that she should not be required to pay what she describes as an undisclosed charge. Have a look at this exchange for yourself.
I have a problem with this. You can't bring an additional transaction fee and ask me to pay it without it being declared. If you would include that before I check out.
What is this here?
If you want to know.
What is this here?
What you opened this menu. Was it this first page that opened?
Why did you open it? Just hold on.
Well, this incident has since triggered a lot of online reactions, and many Nigerians are now debating what are the rights of a customer and should businesses be more transparent and whether such charges should be clearly stated before orders are confirmed, because we know right now things are tight. Let's have a look at social media. Let's see what you have to say about this. Kayode says, this kind of matter, we need to tag the man in charge of tax to make it clear if it is lawful for something like this to happen, because all these businesses are extorting the citizens. And then he tags them, Taiwo Oyedele. Key says, some people really take small charges personally. 1,600 naira, 1,687 naira .50 kobo isn't worth the police drama, especially if it's a clearly stated policy covering value-added tax. Sometimes it's smarter to just pay and move on than turn a minor fee into a full-blown spectacle. And finally, Kingozi Egbeodion says, in fact, I love what she did. Nigerians have been duped by countless companies using the very same patterns and tricks. And this still goes on today simply because we refuse to resist or even question it. Now, team, global best practice and the general expectation and standard is that companies, restaurants, or what have you, they must disclose, additional compulsory charges, whether that be value-added tax, whether that be a service fee or an entertainment charge, it must be disclosed. But the restaurant was saying it was there, but it was in the middle page. And this one is saying, no, it should have been in the first page. Important to note that the restaurant then proceeded to lock her in the restaurant, not allow her to leave. She paid for her meal, but she refused to pay the extra 1,600. We don't know how this has ended, but I know but the last we saw of this case, she was calling the police while they had locked her in the restaurant, saying she must pay that money. But it's important, the data that we can take from here is that consumers, Nigerian consumers, are now becoming much more vocal and more aware of their rights as consumers. But Atoma, what do you make of this?
Yes, you listen to some adverts, and at the end of the advert, you hear terms and conditions apply. It is the terms and conditions that she's talking about. And all these extra charges, they do not make them conspicuous. If it is written, it is in very small print and it is hidden somewhere at the back or in the middle of whatever documents they have the thing on. I think it is very unfair to the customers. You are telling me that I'm stupid. That's the way that woman feels. You're telling me I'm stupid. I mean, how much is it? And she feels this bad. I support her 150%. Come out, let us know. Something similar to that happens around the Lekki area, where you go to a supermarket, you buy some stuff, And then when you want to go there, say, the bag is so amount. Why didn't they tell you before you went in there? No matter how small it is the fact that you are walking on my brain. That's the thing that pisses everybody off.
You know, for me, I think that these value-added tax should be written boldly. You know, when I get to a restaurant, let me see it. And Olamide, I'm telling you this because sometimes you have the exact money you are paying for the food. Exactly. Sometimes all you have, it has happened to me, all I had was that money for the food. So imagine you now want to pay for the food, and I tell you, oh, madam, you did not look, there was tax. It's going to be very embarrassing. So I really get where she was coming from. But then again, I do not understand why they locked her inside. I don't like when people take power into their hands. If she's not completed the money, call authorities, call the police or something. You cannot lock somebody against the person's will. And this is for restaurants. Even though I tell supermarkets, tell me about the bag first. Like, don't put all the things there and you're telling me, madam, you have to pay for the bag after I've paid. You know, sometimes, how am I going to carry the things and go home? So I think as restaurants, you know, places that give services, we should also think about the people that come, you know, to you. Because if these people don't come to you, how do you make money? I truly get where she's coming from. I want to beg restaurants, please, let's put it big there. Let me see, when I'm ordering my chicken, let me see how much I'm adding to it, so I know if I can afford it or not.
I think it's very unfair when you have something in small print and you expect everyone to know. Listen, when I come to your restaurant to eat, I'm not there to come and read compendium. I'm not there to come and read novels as a menu. I just want to check the kind of food that I like to eat and how much it costs. Not you know, keeping the terms and conditions somewhere. It has to be boldly written at a doorstep. At least you always write it there that customers that want credit don't come into the shop. We don't sell on credit. So why don't you put it there that you also charge some untransparent, you know, you put some intransparent charges, you know, right there in your menu. So it's not fair on the side of the lady. And the second person that tweeted, I think it was not right to have said the lady should just pay. The same thing Rhea just said, that listen, that is the amount of money that I've budgeted to come and eat. Even if I'm eating 50,000 naira worth of food or 120,000 naira worth of food, I already made a budget for it. So little 1 naira should not be unfairly collected from
Every
me.
penny counts.
Absolutely. I really worry that the average Nigerian business doesn't respect the rights of the consumer. But thank you so much for your input, team.